Welcome guys, Evergreen Gun Reviews here doing a part 2 video on my Vetterli-Vitali 1870 87 15 chambered in 6.5 Carcano. In this video, on this part 2 video, I'm gonna be covering a lot of things, kind of the value, whether or not this thing is something that you might be wanting to get into. They're obviously very cheap, and that's what draws a lot of people to them. So let's kind of get right into it. In my first video, I did the unboxing, and I was pretty satisfied with a lot of different things right out of the box with this gun. I purchased, this is technically my 7th gun that I have received from Royal Tiger Imports, but it's the 5th one I've received. I ordered 2 before I ordered this, but they had to go to an FFL, and that's all the way in Wenatchee, which is a long ways away from where I'm at. So I got this gun before the other 2. So that's why I'm covering it first, but they're a super neat gun just because of the historical value that kind of is around these guns. There's a lot of history about them, and that draws a lot of people. The price draws a lot of people. One thing that doesn't probably draw a lot of people is the functionality of these guns, because they're kind of, a lot of people, you know, always wondering, is it a gun you can shoot? So I'm going to be kind of covering a lot of that and how I feel about it. So let me just start off by saying I thank you to everyone on my last few videos for the support I've been getting. The night I got this, I just cleaned the heck out of it. And so that first video got posted really late at night. It was a lot of work to get it cleaned up. It was a lot cleaner still though than prior guns I've gotten from Royal Tiger Imports. So I was happy about that. I'm going to be doing some obviously new videos. I've got 2 other rifles coming, and I want to do another video on my Yugo M48 and Yugo M48A, just because I feel like there's not a lot of people buying those off of RTI, and I'd like to do some videos on them. People are there's kind of this notion that the bores on them are all crap. So the ones that we both received, I think are pretty good. So I'd like to do a video on that and just share what I received from Royal Tiger Imports with those. But let's dig into this gun here. This is what we're talking about here. The first thing I wanted to cover is the cleanliness of the gun. Right out of the box, this thing was way cleaner than what I've received in the past. Just holding on to the gun and looking at it, running the action, wasn't seized up, which was cool. It was just way cleaner. I set the gun down, I looked at my hands, and I was like, wow, my hands aren't pitch black like the other guns that I've received from Royal Tiger Imports. So that was one nice thing about it. I felt like it was packed pretty well. The second thing I wanted to cover is this is a B grade rifle. So it's advertised as being fully functional, but there can be nicks, chips, cracks in the stock, and there's one big nick right here, not even that big really, and one small crack going this way, like something I'm not even worried about on it. I'm probably not going to fire this gun ever, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. Another subject is the bore. The bore I was really impressed with. Cleaned it out. I didn't see any rust in there. I got a light down in there. Really looked at it. Cleaned it really good. The rifling appears to be great. I didn't do the muzzle test yet though with the round to see if it seemed like it was shot out, but the rifling looked like it was there, and the bore looked clean. I didn't see any pitting or anything in there, so that was another really good sign, to me at least. So I obviously need to take this apart here in a further video and mess with something in there, because I think I've got a little problem going on in the magazine with the follower or whatever. But I need to check that bore also and see if it seems like it's been shot out at the end. But it looks like it's in good condition to me. The bore did on this gun so far. It appears to be nice. It's having troubles chambering rounds. I don't know what's going on there. I think it's something with this follower or spring in here, I guess you could say, not coming all the way up or something. But so I need to get in there and clean that better, or look at it. Maybe I just need to replace it if it's something I want to try to shoot, but I'm not worried about that right now. Next thing is the finish. A lot of people are wondering, ask, you know, get worried about the whole wire wheeling thing with the guns that are coming out of Ethiopia. They wire wheel the crap out of stuff. My M95 was wire wheeled, so the grooves in the top of where the markings were on the barrel where it said Steyr were so deep on it. It was actually kind of insane. Like, I don't know what kind of wire wheel they're using, but they wire wheeled the crap out of that gun. Right off the bat, I noticed that I didn't notice any wire wheeling on this. That doesn't mean that they hadn't hit it with the wire wheel, but if they did, it was a lot less. They did a lot better job if they did wire wheel it. Or I got lucky and I got one that maybe missed the wire wheel. I can't see any evidence of where it's been wire wheeled. You guys might notice right off the bat that it looks, you know, right away, you might have noticed that it looks way cleaner than it did in the first video. Things look shinier, but I polished, like the barrel bands, I polished them with a polishing wheel, just to polish and just try to see if there was, I mean, there was no finish left on it. The finish on this gun is gone, but I didn't feel like there was any bad pitting or anything on the top of it, on the interior of the gun, in the chamber or anything. I didn't really see. The only spot where there's bad pitting on this gun, I'll show you guys, was the butt plate. Had some pretty nasty pitting on it, but you know, that's probably the part that was sticking out of the stack, and it's down in here. I don't know if you can see it. It looks like the moon. It's all cratered. But rather than that, I was kind of impressed. The finish is obviously gone. It's an old gun. But I've watched a lot of videos on these. There's so much content about this gun in particular, and I don't know why, just because it's a cheap gun and people are buying them, I think. But going into it, I knew that the finish was kind of going to be in the condition that it is. So I wasn't bummed out by the way that the finish was on it. I was happy, though, that I could tell that it had probably avoided wire wheeling. So that was a good note about this gun. Let's go into functionality of the gun. Mine is not that functional at the moment. I don't know what's going on in here. They're advertised as a B grade to be functional, but mine's just not. I can't not get it to feed that in-block clip around into the chamber. I don't know what's going on there. Something with the spring, I think, in there. Not lifting it all the way up. The in-block clip will go straight through the gun, no problem. But something's going on in there when there's rounds in there, so I'll have to investigate that further. But the functionality, I would say, isn't the best on this thing. It's an old gun. I would not be buying this gun if you intend to be shooting. There's so many other guns on Royal Tiger Imports that I would just put first over this gun. This is my 8th gun I purchased from them, and it was just, I put it off longer than I wanted to get one of these, but I definitely wouldn't be my first pick off of Royal Tiger Imports. So if you're looking at guns to pick, you've never purchased from them before, definitely make this lower on your list. There's a lot of good guns. Their Carcanos, I think, are great. I think the Carcanos they're selling are kind of trashed on a little bit, but the ones that me and my buddy received were both pretty good. I know the Cavalry carbines, I think, are coming from Italy, not from Ethiopia, but I'll do another video on my Cavalry carbine and how I feel about that gun as well. More in-depth video. Moving on to the functionality of, rather than that, it's an old gun, guys. I mean, it appears to be working, you know. So functionality, I would say I'd maybe give it a 7 out of 10, or maybe like a 6 out of 10. I mean, it probably doesn't function the way it did back in the day, but things are definitely a little loose. And I think that's kind of just the way it was too, like the way these things were. Even new back in way back in the day. So I can't hate on it too much just because it's so old. I'm actually impressed that it's still in the condition that it's in with its age and where it was at. Final thing I'm going to touch on about this gun, guys, is the history of it. So if you're probably saying, oh man, he says it's not really a functional gun, or at least I don't feel like it is. I wouldn't feel like taking this thing out and shooting it. If I did, it would be every blue moon. It would be with, way lighter loads than the standard, 6.5. These things are just not, these things aren't shooters. They're great for the historical value, I think. And that's what drew me to this gun. So if you're wanting to get one of these to own it as a shooter, I would get something else. I wouldn't get this as a, I want to take it to the shooting range. Kubota 49 or something his name is on YouTube. He has a lot of videos on these, probably more than anyone. And he has one that's in great shape that didn't come from Ethiopia. It's in great shape. And even his, he felt uncomfortable shooting, and his is in pristine condition. So that's just kind of another thing that draws me back from, do I want to shoot this? I'll absolutely shoot this thing. I'll take it out and shoot it. Not on my shoulder, probably with the string and a half load or something. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know. Leave it in the comments. I'll maybe consider doing it. But it's not it's not like it's not a well-made gun, but just with all the transitions it's gone through, I think it just turned into kind of a mutt, last ditch type thing, back of the battlefield type gun. And, with the sleeve and the barrel and everything, I just think age hasn't done a lot for these guns. I think they were probably a little bit on the janky side way back in the day. And I think, over time, they definitely haven't gotten any better. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up with that being said, guys. I'll leave it at two things. If you want to buy this gun for its historical value, I would say absolutely it's worth it. For $150, wait till this thing goes on sale or till you have a coupon for the free shipping. Get it for $150 to your door. $150, that's it. For its historical value, I think it's a cool wall hanger. I think it's cool for that reason. As far as a functional, take it out and shoot type of gun, I wouldn't buy this thing for that reason. I didn't buy this gun for that reason. I was hoping, obviously, that it was going to be a little more functional than what I'd kind of heard about on the internet, but guys, this just isn't a shooter. I think it's wall art is what I think it is. I think it's a really cool gun, but I think it's wall art. Honest, I think it is. This action here, I see light through, that bolt's all the way closed, and I can see light. You shine a light here, you see a bunch of light. I don't think there's good gas mitigation and stuff on these. And Othias on his channel, they blew 2 or 3 of these things up doing even half loads. So just a little sketchy, a little too sketchy for me to feel comfortable to put a half load and put it up next to my face. I'd probably do it with the string, but I'll leave it at that, guys. In the first video, I said, it came with a free M-block clip. I did 2 different transactions. One of them with the other guns, this one with this gun, and I forgot that I paid for an M-block clip for my Steyr M95. So it did not, Royal Tiger Imports was not nice and did not include a free M-block clip. I didn't pay attention to what I'd actually ordered. I did pay for that M-block clip. I know a lot of people were pointing that out in that first video. So anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for your support.